velocity-based training is what this video is about. The really nice fellows at GymAware gave me this unit right here. It's called the Flex. I'll try to explain it as quick as I can. This piece right here goes on the end of the barbell. And then this reflective mat, this is the little charging piece. This reflecting mat goes underneath that piece. And you guys will see while I'm lifting this little reflecting mat. It's not as accurate without this reflective mat because the lasers there's like a ton of different lasers that help pick up the velocity of the bar. Much more accurate with the reflective mat. This is made of some sort of weird material. Velocity-based training is something that weightlifting actually it's been studied quite a bit. There's a big piece by John Garhammer, and a lot of the Soviets started to get into velocity-based training. Now, the reason why this is so important is because this is cheap. This unit right here is cheap. The other GymAware unit is not cheap. This is cheap, it's accessible, so for coaches like myself, this might be, a big difference maker. This is something that coaches everywhere can go purchase, and then they can change their protocols based on that. I'm gonna give you guys a super quick breakdown on what this does exactly and why it's beneficial and the objective of this video. So what this does is it can track the mean velocity of a snatch or a clean and jerk, just whatever happens on the bar, but it can also track the peak velocity, and that's what we're looking for. That would be in meters per second. It would also calculate the meters per second of the lift, the distance that this thing travels, which it won't show you, but it will calculate it, and then how much weight is on the bar. Now, if we know anything about math, that is how we determine power. Those three factors right there, the speed,
5 minutes later,
the distance, and the amount of time it takes. God, I'm an idiot. Okay? So that's how we can determine power. So what we'll get with the power is we can get a mean wattage of the entire lift, but that doesn't do us much help because the bar slows down and speeds back up, but it can give us a peak wattage, so peak power output. So what I'm looking for today is peak velocity and peak power output in the snatch. I'm gonna do 2 lifts at each weight, and I'm going to record the peak velocity and the peak wattage in that. And then we'll kind of discuss the results after that. So let's go to the gym. All right, so I'm here in the gym and I want to show you guys the setup. So here's what it looks like. So here's the reflective mat. And this is the tracker, the tracking device. As long as it's over these lasers, as long as they're over the mat, then it's all good. It's magnetic, so it just kind of clips on. And then because I'm snatching, I'm gonna want to tighten it. I just use this right here to tighten it. And now it's ready to go. And then I will hook it up to my phone, which I'll show you guys. can see here how much my speed dropped, but my power didn't drop too much because of the added weight, but it's going down. So I'm cutting it there, but I want to show you guys something. So these are my sets at 120, 2.03, 2.02, 2949, which is good, and then it started to go real down after 130. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch to power snatches. So you can see here, I switched it up to power snatches, and I'm going to do them at 100, because if I look at all of my wattages, 100 is by far, my first set at 100 was by far my highest power output. So I'm going to try to mimic that so that I can get the best out of my training. I'm going to do 3 singles, but I'm going to do power snatches here. Alright, so final lift here. I'm going to try to beat my best velocity and hopefully get best power. I think that will happen. So I need 2.43 at least. Alright, I couldn't best it. Today's not a very good day. I did really heavy deadlifts yesterday. Probably should have stayed around 110, but I'll talk more about that after. So right now, Arthur is going to snatch 80%, and we're going to see the difference of bar velocity necessary to make the lift, and then also difference in wattage on his lift with the velocity tracker. So let's go over the data real quick. I'm going to disregard anything below 90 kilos. That's just below 60%, and it's not really that important. So what you can see here, and something that jumps out at me, is the first rep of the 100. I did 2.42 meters per second and 3,132 watts. So that was my highest of the day in both speed and watts. Sets at 100 to 110 probably would have suited me really well in my training session. The bar slowed down a ton at 130. It dropped below 2 meters per second to 1.9 meters per second, and the wattage wasn't too low. It was 2,883. So when you're looking at something like this, you want to find what percentage offers the best bang for your buck. And if I'm looking at the table here, I would say anywhere between 100 and 110. My goal would be to have all of those reps move faster than 2.2 meters per second. What I could do is just play around with different weights around that range and maybe go up to 115 and try to hit that 2.2 mark. Once I got up to 120, that's when the bar started slowing down a little bit, and that noticeable drop of 0.2 meters per second actually causes a lot of change. You can see I have higher wattage generally from the 110 to 100 range than I do from 120 and higher. So that would mean that today would be a good time to train between 100 and 110, maybe mess around with 115. After that, I went to 100 and I did power snatches just to see what I could get. Only that second rep was close to my best, but it still wasn't even as high as my first 100. The little experiment that I did with Arthur. So I had Arthur lift 80%. For me, 80% is 112 kilos, but let's just say that 110 is 80% for me. So as you can see, I moved the bar at 2.2 for my 110 reps. And that left me with a power output of 2,900 or higher watts. Arthur did 80%, and he was only able to get 2 meters per second with a wattage of 1,977 watts. So what does that say? Okay, well, it says that in order for me to accomplish 80%, I literally have to work harder than Arthur does to accomplish his 80%. So that would mean in my program, it would have to reflect that. So even though Arthur and I are lifting the same relative loads to our 1 rep max, Arthur is doing 66% of the work that I am. This would mean if we did the same workout, it would generate a lot less fatigue for him compared to myself. One other thing that this tool can be used for is to show the lifter how they're fatigued in that day. So an example for this is if I did 110 snatches another day and I was only moving the bar at 2.1 meters per second and I just could not get it going any faster, I would know that either I'm not in good enough shape or that I'm fatigued and I need to work on my recovery more, whether that's just taking the day off or doing less intense work or getting better sleep or nutrition. So that was my little test run with velocity-based training. If you guys want to test it out yourself, you can check out the Flex by GymAware. There will be a link in the description that will direct you to that product. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.